Welcome everyone to the Reading Writing Corner. I'm your host Leanne, and we will be going through this portion of the video with a non-spoiler review for How to Train Your Dragon by Christina Cowell. This is actually the special edition for How to Train Your Dragon 2 when it came out for the movies. I also have a special edition for How to Train Your Dragon 3, first book, when the movie 3 came out. I did annotation in this one because I didn't have the original book for it. And this one also had 2 short stories in it, which I did not read, but I will read eventually on the channel for you all. So there's that. This story is part of a series called How to Train Your Dragon. And it's a big franchise. Now, about the series. Have you ever wanted to train your own dragon to be your lifelong companion, to hunt for you, allow you to ride them anywhere? Well, you will need to read this book on how to train that dragon, or it might eat you. Well, maybe read this book. I loved the movie with the same name. And you guys don't understand how much I loved that movie. To the point where, when it first came out, my PlayStation 2, which is old as dirt, was the thing I watched it on with a VCR/TV, and I would just put that disc in and it would just play on repeat because it repeated on its own. I didn't have to do anything, and most times I got caught up in doing other things and I didn't remember to stop it or to play it myself. It would just automatically play on its own, and it would just be repeat, and I would just tune in whenever I wanted to. Like, for the longest time, I had the intro memorized. I could just say it without ever having to listen to the TV show. But I can't now. Obviously, it's been many years. The synopsis. Hiccup Horrendous, Haddock III, the quiet and thoughtful son of the chief of the hairy hooligan, tries to pass the important initiation test of his Viking clan by catching and training a dragon. Can Hiccup do it without being torn limb from limb? Join his adventures and misadventures as he finds a new way to train dragons and becomes a hero. This action-packed, hilarious, perfectly illustrated novel is a modern classic beloved by millions across the world. The back actually says Hiccup Horrendous, Haddock III is a truly extraordinary Viking hero known amongst Vikingdom as the Dragon Whisperer, but it wasn't always so. Travel back to the days when Hiccup was just a boy, the quiet and thoughtful son of the chief of the hairy hooligan. Can Hiccup capture a dragon and train it without being torn limb from limb? Join the mighty warrior as he finds a better way to train his dragon and becomes a beloved hero. So, this is where it all starts. And let me tell you, that is not the Toothless in the book. If you haven't guessed already, but that's not it. Hiccup is thought to be weak and unworthy of becoming the next chief of the hairy hooligans tribe. And he proved them all wrong. And that's basically it. Well, can he become a hero too? Because, everybody wants to be a hero. Especially a Viking. So, the setup of the characters was done quick, but well enough for anyone to understand. Their motives are laid out for the reader to read as soon as possible, because, this is not for young adults or teens or adults. The genre is considered children's fantasy, so yeah. For children, I lay it out quick. The characters react to the situations they get into with bravery and fear mixed together because they have to do it or else they cannot become one of the tribe. So, that's what happens in this one. They do something so that way they can be accepted into the tribe because of their dragons. Did this live up to my expectations? It was pretty good, but I think they made some good decisions when they made it into a movie. And we'll get into those in the spoiler section of the review, because there's some things that I need to point out that were the best decisions to make for the movies. Which character do I relate to the most? Hiccup. Outcasts usually relate to each other. Which secondary character stood out the most? Toothless, because of how childish she is. Very childless. Very childish. And self-centered. And that's just how most dragons are. what was more important, the characters or the plot? The development of Hiccup was more important than the plot. It's basically about Hiccup's development into a hero. So that's the plot, but that's also the characters. The character Hiccup is more important than anything else. The plot within each book is just there to show Hiccup developing into a hero. It only had one voice in it, and it did not affect my reading, which it never does. I should probably just remove that all completely because, you know, it's gonna be there. Should you go and read this story/series? Yes. If you love the movie, you'll enjoy this book, as it is hilarious. It is funny, especially Toothless, and how they talk to each other. It's hilarious. Yeah. Okay. So, if you want to vamoose from the non-spoiler part, so that way you don't have to listen to the spoiler part of the review, go ahead and do so now. But before you do, drop a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription so you can see more non-spoiler reviews, and maybe spoiler reviews if you decide to stick. This is the spoiler section of the review. Here's some lingo. Dragon Nursery, where all new dragons stay until a certain age. Dragon spotters, people that watch dragons and get laughed at if they do. The warrior of the tribe, those that fight for their tribe to keep their people safe. The Hairy Hooligan tribe is a tribe that lives on Burke, which is the main where Hiccup's from. He's part of the Hairy Hooligan tribe. I guess because they're always hairy. The Meathead tribe is a tribe that's close by that takes part in the dragon initiation test for the warriors. The dragon initiation test is basically where they have to go and get a dragon, and then they have to train a dragon and show that they have trained a dragon during a test on Thursday, which is basically a big festival for the initiations to show off that they can train their dragon to be part of the tribe. Basketball, it's a game that Hiccup sucks at. Dragonese is actually the language of dragons. So yes, they can actually talk to the dragons. But, it's a little weird. Like, how they talk to the dragons is... Oh yeah, and I like this. There's, actually I'll put some hook inside the book. But it's, very short. Because it's one page. Yell at it. Well, more than one page, but still. I think that's pretty cool. There's a lot of drawings and stuff in here, so if you're a person with ADHD or something, you could probably read this because it's got a lot of distractions in it that draws you away from the story, but it's also there to enhance the story. Like Hiccup sitting there with his basket on, being blown away by the wind and everything. Font's not always the same. There's always little drawings and stuff and little things that talk about stuff in here, like this. Learning to speak Dragonese. Introductions. In order to train your dragon without using the traditional method of yelling at it, you must first learn to speak Dragonese. Dragons are the only other creatures who speak a language as complicated and sophisticated as humans. Here are some common dragon phrases to get you started. Nea klappaina di hausa pishu. No pooing inside the house, please. Me mama no like it yum yum on the bum. My mother does not like to be bitten on the bum. Pishu kendel goba oat me free undel. Please, would you be so kind as to spit my friend out? Do it one more time. Let's try it again. But of course, then make it hard for you to understand it in the thing, so it's written in a way that we can understand. This should of course be read. So, Hello Toothless is the first time it really shows Dragonese. It says this should of course read How do you do there, Toothless? But I have translated into English for the benefit of those readers whose Dragonese is a bit rusty. Please read Hiccup's Book 3, Learning to Speak Dragonese, for a crash course in this fascinating language. So, like, basically she's doing a translation for you because it's her writing the translation of Hiccup's book. about how he became famous, because it's really him writing a book. Like, this is how I became a hero, because it's got a note from the hero in the very beginning. There was a dragon when I was born. There was a dragon, so yeah, it's basically that. A translation. Burke, the place where the hairy hooligan tribe lives. There are different kinds of dragons, but the ones that are basically introduced into this one are the common or garden and the basic brown, which Toothless is actually a part of, and he's like yay big. So he's like a those terrible twos, which are short and small in the movies. There's gronkles in this, and natters. They're not called deadly natters, they're just called natters. And of course you have the monstrous nightmare. The monstrous nightmares are actually dragons that can set themselves on fire, of course, but they're usually only owned by the chiefs of the tribe, and only the heirs to the tribe are supposed to get them. But Snotlout gets one because he thinks he should be chief of the tribe, of course, obviously. Even happens in this book, which there's that big rivalry there. The sea dragoness Gigantus Maximus, the largest dragons that live in the sea. There's a few of them in here, like 2 of them to be honest, and we'll get into those in just a minute. So, Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III is the main character that ends up saving his tribe and another tribe from being wiped out by 2 monstrous sea dragons that actually land on shore in a deep sleep. The dragon coma, as it is, where they're just deeply asleep and nothing can disturb them and they all wake up eventually. Snotface Snotlout is Hiccup's cousin that wants to be chief, and he's the one who takes the monstrous nightmare and tells Hiccup, I dare you to try otherwise. You know, try to stop it. Dog's Breath de Brain. Snotlout's dog, literally. That's all he is. He's like Tough Nut and Rough Nut in a way, but not. Then you have Clueless, one of the hairy hooligan tribes. I don't really know why Clueless is there. You do have Tough Nut Jr., who is actually the son of Tough Nut in everything. Who there are the twins, but they're actually elders in the thing and not. You also have Speedy Fist, his hairy hooligan tribe. You have Warty Hog, which is another of the hairy hooligan tribe. That's the initiates. And that's all the initiates there that are the kids. So really you don't have any girls, by the way. There are no girls in this for some reason. I guess they get sent off to their own little island because there's no girls mentioned. I think the only girl who you really know about is Valhalla Rama, which is Hiccup's mother. That's the only one that's actually female that I know of that's in the book. And she's only in like one scene where she asks Hiccup in the morning how his dragon thing went. So yeah. And then you have Gobber the Belch, the one that trains new members to be warriors. You have Stoke the Vast, of course, the chief of the hairy hooligan tribe, who likes the yellow. And then you have Baggy Bum the Bear Belly, which is actually Stoic's brother, who wants his son to be chief, because he feels like he should have been chief. Old Wrinkly. Hiccup had a grandfather. You didn't know that, did you? Me neither. He did have that grandfather. Let's see. Well, let's do all the dragons later. Then you have Thuggery the Meathead, son of the chief of the Meathead tribe. You have Mogadon, chief of the Meathead tribe. And that's it for all the people that were introduced into this. All of the dragons are next. So you have Toothless, Hiccup's dragon. You have Newt's Breath, which is Stoic's dragon. And Hookfang, which is also Stoic's dragon. So there's Hookfang. But he's a monstrous nightmare, yes. Snotlout's dragon. You have Sea Slug, which is Dog's Breath's dragon. It's a terrible name for a dragon. Then you have Fireworm, Snotlout's dragon, which is a girl. Fireworm is a girl. You have Killer, Thuggery's dragon. Then you have Tiger. I don't know which dragon this belongs to, but yeah, you have him. Then you have Bright Claw, which is of course someone's dragon as well, one of the initiates, but I don't know whose. They don't actually say it, and if they did, I couldn't find it when I was writing this down. Horror Cow. The dragon that Hiccup first picked up becomes Fish Legs Dragon, and he names it Horror Cow. It's just like his grandpa, lazy, and likes to eat. But apparently he likes to eat wood and stuff, not actually fish, which is funny. Then you have Green Death. It's one of the sea dragons that drifted up to their shore, and then you have the Purple Death, which is another one on the other side. So they're called green and purple because of their skin colors. Their scales. Sorry. Their scale colors. So yeah, there's that. There is one POV within this story, and it is Hiccup, of course, because it's all written in the first narrative. Well, not really. It's the third person, but it's Hiccup. It's all Hiccup. My favorite character was Hiccup because he was the only one that thought of something to save his tribe from being eaten. Because the rest of the tribe was trying to figure out how to get him to go away. Then how yelling at him would work. Obviously, but it didn't. So Hiccup's like, I gotta think of a way to get him to go away. And they're like, let's have them fight each other to the death. Which they did, and they both died, but the Purple Death died before the Green Death, and the Green Death tried to eat Hiccup. And Hiccup lived, but still, that was funny watching him be eaten. Well, read that he was eaten. My most disliked character was Snotlout, of course. Because he hurt Hiccup and made fun of him just because he was stronger than him, and because he was able to get the monstrous nightmare, and because he thought Hiccup was worthless. But Hiccup's not. He just has to have a chance to prove himself. It was told in chronological order with appropriate language. There was good foreshadowing done with the sea dragon. The suspense was good because we didn't know if Hiccup was going to be eaten or if Toothless was going to live. Because Toothless did get hurt trying to save Hiccup. The background was explained enough for the reader to understand why Hiccup did what he did, as well as how the tribe treated him at first and then afterwards. The title of the book meant that Hiccup had to learn how to train his dragon because Toothless did not listen the same way the other dragons did. It didn't help that Hiccup understood what Toothless was saying and could tell Toothless certain things. The cover of the book is from the second movie that came out. Like I said, I also have a copy from the third movie for the cover for the same book, but this one, of course, is also got 2 extra stories in it, which I'll eventually read. What stood out as memorable was the stark difference from book to movie. The tribes actually trained dragons in the books, even though they still had to kill dragons to keep their village safe. So they killed dragons that were wild that attacked them, but they also trained dragons to use them for that specific reason. Also, Toothless is this itty little thing in the book and not an itty bitty little thing in the movies. I don't know if he grows up to be big or not because I haven't read the rest of the books, but in the book he is not. And he also is literally toothless, where he doesn't have no actual teeth. He can't pop out, but he grows one in here and then he loses it. He's also very vain and doesn't like to listen at all. I mean, like the Toothless we know from the movies, if you've seen him, actually listens to Hiccup and respects him. In this one, Hiccup didn't lose a leg when he was fighting the Green Death, although he did get swallowed by the Green Death. It got stuck on a pitchfork and saw where the dragons create fire. He actually stuck his helmet in there, and that's what exploded the Green Death and saved him from death. So, there's that. There's also, Rough Nut female and Astrid female that are missing completely from this book because it's just men. And I don't know where the women are. I hope they come in soon because, that would be wonderful. To eventually have them come in. I guess they have their own tribe where they live. Let's see what else. Oh yes, the initiation test to become warriors of the tribe. In the movies, you have to kill a dragon. In this one, you have to train them. So, there's a difference in that. And Hiccup actually learns how to train in both movies, but slightly different. Hiccup learns that he has to tell jokes to Toothless to get Toothless to do things. And in the movies, you know, he does certain things to make the dragon interested and trust and build the trust between them so that way he can help Toothless fly again and for him to fly with him. So there's that difference. My favorite passage from the story is, "It was weird," said Hiccup. "I sort of sensed it when we were running down the tunnel. I couldn't see anything, but as we were passing, I just knew there was a dragon there, and that it was meant to be my dragon. I was going to ignore it, actually, because we were in a bit of a hurry, and then you said about not having a dragon, and I went back, and there it was, lying on this shelf in the tunnel, just as I imagined it would be." Like fate. Fate. Oh no, I like Hiccup Toothless being a night fury instead of a common and or garden and brown dragon, because like it's a little sad, but maybe Toothless is an actual night fury. I don't know. I have to read the rest of the books to find out. But Hiccup sensed that this dragon was meant to be his, that Toothless was meant to be his, and that I guess they were destined for greatness. My favorite quote: "I knew I recognized him. He was my doom, no wonder. The little supper has made a supper of me, of the Green Death himself." So Hiccup and the Green Death had a conversation. Hiccup was like, "How do we get you to leave without harming us?" And he was like, "Oh, I'll leave eventually, but not before I eat y'all. But I won't eat y'all now. I'm just waiting for my digestion of my supper now. What's your name?" He goes, Hiccup. He's like, "I'll just call you Little Supper. But your name sounds familiar, but I don't know where I've heard it before." And then he finally realizes that somewhere in his life he was told that Hiccup Prentice Haddock III was going to be the death of him. He was going to turn into supper himself, which was true. Very true. He did make the Green Death supper himself. So that's also another thing, is that the Green Death was female in the movies and male in this one, and that they actually fought the Purple Death, which you actually don't get to see in the movies. For the movies, Purple Death doesn't show up. So there's that. What I thought about the ending of the book: I'm so glad that both of them were saved from the Green Death. The Hiccup didn't get eaten, and the Toothless didn't die from his injury. He just went into a coma sleep to heal. I cannot wait to read more about their adventures, so that's something I'm looking forward to. I've already put the thing in for the next book, and I am ready for it. What book did it remind me of? Nothing that I can think of at this time, but it was great to read the book that inspired the movies. Movies are still my favorite. Unfortunately, that's just basically because Toothless is a night fairy in the movies, and he's a rideable one, and he's just so gosh darn cute as a huge dragon. That's just it. This book, as you know, is part of a series called How to Train Your Dragon. There are 12 books in this series, 3 movies based off of the books, and 4 different cartoons with 3 specials currently. So, there's plenty of the Dragon universe from Cressida Cowell. One of the 4 different cartoons is actually a spin-off. And one of the specials is based off from after How to Train Your Dragon 3. Like, there's 2 cartoon series that were in between movie 1 and movie 2. And then the third one was between movie 2 and movie 3. And the 9 Realms, which is a spin-off, is based, I don't know, afterwards, before, in the middle. I'm not sure. It's just there. So yeah, it has some of that stuff going on, and if you want more, there's more. I rate this a 5 because it was so cool to read the inspirations for the movies, and it has a lot of good times in it and hilarious times in it. Like, Cover the Belch at one point is wearing one of his relatives' clothes because he couldn't find his own to put on because they got burnt. Because they got burnt off from him, so he comes back wearing a dress and an apron. It's hilarious. Yeah. So there's that. Eventually, I will read How to Train Your Viking by Toothless the Dragon, translated from Dragonese by Cressida Cowell, and the other one that's in here, which is The True Story of the Day of the Dreaded. Yeah. The Day of the Dreader, yeah, by Cressida Cowell. So I'll eventually get to those. So if you think you deserve a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription, would you please drop it down below? I will see you next illusion.